And Natural Resources will come to order. We have a staff presentation this morning on the overview of the member amendments, and also on the Jason L. Kuby is here on, is Jason?
No, it's just staff overview this morning.
Just staff overview.
Apologies, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. Subcommittee agenda.
I got your notebook in the wrong order. I apologize.
Oh, okay. That was last time, so we're not. Yeah, we had Jason.
What you doing, boy?
All right.
No, sir, we don't have any bills.
This is out of order, isn't it?
Yeah.
How you doing, Frank? Good to see you.
What's going on, boy?
So, take it away, Kendra.
Thank you. Good morning. We'll just do a brief overview this morning of the member budget request. They're on the large spreadsheets before you, and I'm just going to run down and kind of lump things together and highlight a few of the items. It's certainly not making any statement about the value of any of them, just pulling a couple things out. So starting at the top of the sheet on line 1 with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, we have an amendment on line 4 to establish the Virginia Beer Distribution Company. That's for $784,000. There's an amendment on line 6 for the Governor's Blue Catfish Industries Development Fund. There's some legislation related to that. We have an amendment on line 7 for meat processing capacity of $1.2 million. And then on line 9 is an amendment for invasive species management, $485,000, and that's the first of theirs. This is a package for invasive species management that spans 3 agencies, so you'll see another 2 amendments related to that further on. Mm-hmm. Moving to the Department of Forestry, there's an amendment for additional support for the Forest Sustainability Fund of $72 million.
Which for forestry, gotcha. Okay.
On line 14, there is a statewide study of forest and tree canopies relative to the Chesapeake Bay commitments.
It's on 14?
Yes, sir.
Those are under the commitments?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. On line 16, is invasive species management, $940,000, and the Department of Forestry will be taking the lead on that initiative. So that's the second of those related amendments. Moving on to the Secretary of Commerce and Trade. On line 19, we see some funding for the additional funding for the Governor's Motion Picture Opportunity Fund of $10 million. Line 20, there's support for construction of a research facility at UVA-Wise, $45 million. And on line 22, remediation incentive for sale of Central Virginia Training Center, $6 million. And then on line 23, there's funding to begin the Television Production Development Grant Program and Fund. There's legislation related to that initiative also, $25 million. Moving on to the Department of Housing and Community Development, you'll see there's a number of amendments. There's 31 requests, actually, that fall within the realm of Department of Housing and Community Development. 6 requests are related to housing assistance programs, and they range in funding requests from $9 million to $91 million. There are also within DHCD 2 sewer and wastewater related requests. And unless anybody has any questions about any of the specifics, I'm going to move on and we'll certainly revisit some of those later and discuss them in more in depth later. Moving on to the Department of Energy, Senator Marston has a request in for electric vehicle infrastructure program, $25 million. And then moving on, I'm sorry, that is line 56. And then moving down to the Fort Monroe Authority on lines 63 and 64, there's 2 requests for operating support type initiatives at Fort Monroe. And then on line 69, moving into tourism, there's a request for York County Cruise Line Tourism of $11.2 million, and that's in the first year. Moving on to the Secretary of Labor and the Department of Labor and Industry, there are 5 bill-related initiatives within Department of Labor and Industry, and so most of those are placeholders, and we'll see how things play out with the bill and the fiscal impact statement related to those bills. In natural resources, starting with DCR, Department of Conservation and Recreation, there are 26 requests. 7 are related to operating support for various units within DCR, and for things like information technology systems, positions, and then there are 6 requests that are related to pass-through support for other entities.
Could you repeat that?
Certainly, sir. There are 26 requests total in DCR. 7 are related to operating support for like additional positions for parks, training for soil and water conservation districts, system improvements for the system used to track agriculture BMPs and related things. And then there are 6 that are requests that are for pass-through support to other entities.
Okay, thank you.
And there are also, you will see the last of the invasive species is also included in DCR. Moving on to the Department of Environmental Quality, there are 6 pass-through related requests for other entities.
I'm sorry, that's
That starts at about line 107.
107. Okay. Let me just.
In Wildlife Resources, which begins on line 114, there's funding for the invasive species, wildlife corridor, and red wolves reintroduction.
What's the total of all the invasive species?
I need to go back and double check myself on that.
My understanding on the wildlife corridors, the administration is pursuing some 100% funding for some projects. I don't know the amount of money or whatever, but my understanding is that the match here is a 80-20. We put up 20, the feds put up 80. I think that the wildlife corridor folks nationally, are real interested in doing something about the elk herds, to protect them.
That's because they're building a big road right through the middle of their area.
Yeah.
Who planned that?
So, I don't know, legislature, maybe? I don't know. So.
All right, with the Department of Historic Resources, it begins on line 118 and goes on to the following page. There are 19 requests for pass-through funding for various entities, and the funding requests range from about $100,000 to $10 million.
How much? I'm sorry.
From $100,000 to $10 million. And these are the requests for cultural institutions and community organizations. Traditionally, we called them the non-state type of request. Beginning on line 137 is Marine Resources Commission, and there's a funding request for a security vessel for the rocket launches at NASA and Wallops Island, and a request for Elizabeth River sediment cleanup.
What is a security vehicle? Is that a police boat?
It's a special police boat, exactly. It's a custom police boat that's able to go out further than 3 miles. Their current fleet is limited, can't go further out than 3 miles into the ocean. So this one is custom fitted out so it can go further out and faster. And respond if there's an emergency and as part of a launch situation at Wallops.
Oh, okay. So in case something gets waterborne.
Exactly. And something
Gotcha.
goes really wrong in a bad way.
I didn't think they were after submarines or anything.
I suppose it could be used for that also, but they're not going to tell me if they are. Moving on to central appropriations, line 179, there's a request that has some language adjustments to the payment for special and unanticipated expenditures related to producer indemnification for avian influenza. And I wanted to point that out since there's currently a situation with avian influenza going on in the valley.
It's going to become very important for us right now because we do have some small outbreaks which are controlled right now, but it's a kind of a set-aside in case we need it.
There are also in central appropriations a couple of ARPA-related amendments dealing with the broadband extension programs, the LECAP.
How bad have we been hit, Emmett, with the avian?
It's been isolated so far. There was 2 weeks ago. They detected some in one area. They took action there and then did the protocol in like a 3-mile radius, all clean. And then there was another outbreak. That's all I'm aware of. When I say outbreak, just a small amount in one flock.
Yeah.
And so they're taking extra precautions now. So it's around. It's very hard to contain. Hopefully it will be contained.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right.
All right, that is the highlight of all the amendment requests that I have in front of me. If there are any that you have any questions about.
I have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Hanger.
All your item numbers that you have there, have you included all of the language only ones? Are they on there?
Yes, sir, they're listed here.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Thank you.
So-
And, okay.
And I believe, Senator Marsden, that was all that we have on our agenda for this morning. So-
Okay,
Hey, Mr.
well,
Chairman, I
very
move
good,
we
yes.
approve them all.
That would be great, wouldn't it? It is,
Well, I'm not sure how great that would be, but, it's a
you know,
starting point.
it is, yeah, well, approve them all and then make decisions. Anyway, anything else? All right. Committee will rise.